It's a Wood Chopping Times weekend project. Hello, fellow wood chopperoos. The Big Chopperoo and Safety Dan here.
Hey.
And today's weekend project is this country-style cabinet. Now, this is actually the second cabinet that I made for an article that I wrote for American Woodworker magazine. The footage I'm going to be showing you in today's episode was one that I made out of poplar. And it was made for a customer of mine because she actually likes to collect teacups.
Well, hello, Mrs. Fancy Pants. Won't you join us for some tea?
Key my ass.
I'll begin by ripping and cross-cutting my pieces to the sizes from a measured drawing and a cut sheet that I made earlier. To be even more accurate, I'll use a stop block on my table saw sled for consistent and precise sizes. Now is probably a good time for a reminder. We're using several different types of power tools on today's project. So, let's take a tip from Safety Dan. And now, staying safe with Safety Dan.
Oh, hey, always make sure you wear your hearing protection and safety glasses.
This has been a tip from Staying Safe with Safety Dan. Now once you get your pieces all cut from the cut sheet, I'm then going to take the side piece and I'm going to make a rabbet. Now you can use your router, or in my case, I'm going to use a stacked dado. I'm putting a 1/2 inch back on this cabinet, and the stacked dado makes quick removal of the waste. Now I'm going to take my side pieces and I'm going to cut out this arch on them to simulate some legs. Now an easy tip to do both at the same time is simply tape them together and cut it out on the bandsaw. Now before I do any assembly, I want to make sure I drill for the holes on the inside for those adjustable shelves. Now I made myself just a little simple template that will drill the holes in the same spot every time. The jig has a large hole which will accept the drill bit, which has a pre-depth adjustment on it. It also has a smaller hole which is the size of my shelf pin. I'm going to start the first hole with the larger one at the line I want to make my first mark at. And slide in my shelf pin. And make some more holes. Perfect holes every time. Now just do the other side. I'm going to take the top and bottom and I'm going to attach them to the sides and back with pocket screws. Now pocket screws are fast and easy joint to make, plus it's pretty strong as well. Well, I've been busy the last few minutes gluing and nailing the back, pocket screwing the top and bottom, and checking the overall squareness of it. Now with the clamps applied and the glue setting, I'm going to start working on the face frame. Now with all my stock cut for the face frame, I'm going to take it over the bandsaw and I'm going to cut that arch in it to simulate the legs like we did on the side. Then it's just a matter of pocket screwing the rest of the face frame together. Even though pocket screws are strong, it's still not a bad idea to add some glue. Now with my face frame done, you might be tempted to go put it on the carcass right away. But truth be told, I'm actually going to fit my door first. So I'm going to get started on building that. So here's the raised panel door that I'm going to use on my tea cabinet. Now I was going to include this in the video, but it proved to be just too many steps. So if you'd like to see how to make this raised panel door, go to woodchoppingtime.com and check out Cope and Stick doors. Now I'm just ready to fit it inside the face frame. Now you'll recall I left the face frame off of the carcass to set the doors. The reason for this is, if I was using a full overlay door, which is a door that sits on the outside of the face frame, well, it wouldn't have been too much problems. But I'm using it as an inset door. In other words, that the door is going to be flush with the face frame. And the tricky part about this is getting that same even consistent spacing all the way around. So here's one little tip that will help you. I use these laminate samples. The laminate samples I'm going to use to place between the door and the face frame. This way I can trim the door accordingly to make it fit. It will take a little bit of time and finesse, but it'll be even and consistent all the way around. Again, if you'd like to see detailed steps on fitting inset doors, well, click here and go to the link. Now with my doors all properly fit around the face frame, I'm also going to use this opportunity to set my hinges. In this case, I'm just going to use some butterfly hinges that will apply to the outside of the door and the face frame. I'm using a self-centering drill bit to put the holes in the hinges. It works great because it gets it exactly in the center. Now, I will have to remove these hinges before I set the face frame to the carcass, but when I reapply the doors, it's going to make it a whole lot easier. I'm now back at the carcass and I'm cutting the slots for the biscuits to attach the face frame. I'm applying the glue and the biscuits, and then I'll set the face frame to the carcass. Well, now after all that, I'm going to put some clamps on this and let it dry. While that cabinet's all clamped up and drying, I also took the time to make the top. The top is nothing more than just 3 boards that I biscuit and glued together, and then I did a round over on the edge. I also made some molding to go underneath that top. I made a cove molding and another round over or bullnose molding. I'm about ready to add my top on, as well as I'm going to put that trim underneath it. Now to make this easier, I'm actually going to turn this whole unit upside down. So the next thing I want to do then is I want to pre-drill some holes in the bottom, but I want to elongate the holes so that the top has room to expand through the seasons. With the top attached, now I'm ready to add my trim. I'll begin by gluing the round over molding, and then I'll secure it with some nails. I'll do the same procedure with the cove molding. I'll glue it and again secure it with nails. Here's a nice tip for you. To keep your corners nice and tight, while the glue's still wet on that mitered edge, just lightly sand it. The sawdust will fill it in and dry like a putty. Well, I'm in the home stretch. With the doors back on, the final things I have to do is just add the stop block for the doors, and I've made this combination door handle / latch. Well, I'm going to stop here today because the handle on this thing is quite unique. It looks simple, but it has some critical steps you have to follow to make it work. So tune in next week and see how to make the flush-fitting handle and the conclusion of our country-style cabinet.
You better fix that next week, too.
Well, if you like what you saw today, subscribe to us at youtube.com/BigChopperoo.
Or you can join us on Facebook.
And don't forget about our blog. Well, there's one more thing I gotta do.
Chad, I think it's time for you to dance.
Ooh, yeah.
This program brought to you by